am talking. Ow now, brown cow. Ow now, brown cow.
What did you say on the last one? Dick in my cereal or something?
Penis in my oatmeal.
All right, that's going.
Good morning, YouTube. It is a fucking horrible day.
Yeah, so we could start. How was your day?
My day was good. My night fucking ruined.
Okay, well, we'll get into the story later, I guess. We'll just start. I'll say some nonsense. What's up, guys? I feel the energy. Welcome back to another episode of Dougsterbob Discussions. This is episode 11 and a half.
Yes.
Were you going to say that?
Yes.
So here's the thing. In this episode, Barak and I were chit-chatting after riding one day, and he's like, I hate how long the episodes are. I hate how newsy they are. Like, everyone does news. It's really easy. I hate it. And so anyway, he came up with some really good ideas, and he actually earned a promotion this episode. I don't know what it is, but he came up. He said, "Well, what if we just pick like one topic twice a month?"
Yes.
And go, wait. So we have 4 weeks per month.
Roughly. 2
of those weeks are going to be just a topic that we can discuss in depth. One of those weeks is going to be a bigger episode that, like all the other ones where we branch off of different things. We covered the recent events for the month, the upcoming events for the next month. And then the fourth one would be reading their comments on the other ones.
Yes, and just kind of reviewing everything.
And I was like, okay, I like it. So we picked DC Shoes and their disbandment. Is that the right word?
I don't know.
DC Shoes leaving the BMX industry, which happened, I can't remember. We just looked it up.
February 26th, 2013.
2013. So in 2013, DC said, we're not going to have a BMX program. And then what happened?
Well, joke. Insert SpongeBob meme. I'm a head out.
On the last one, I took, the Roger thing that you talked about. Do you remember that?
Wait, Roger the
Why
alien?
are you guys so mean to me?
Oh, yeah, when he's getting roasted.
I took that part of the episode and put it in the podcast, so I'll insert the SpongeBob thing. Okay, but when DC left, everyone said, fuck DC, basically.
Yes. Oh, yeah, everyone.
And we talked about it a little bit, and I was like, look, if we're going to go this direction, let's get some pros input and see what they think. And Barak, this is where he earned his promotion, is he reached out to a handful of pros. How many replied?
Technically 6, 7.
6,
but
7 pros got back to us.
We only got like 4 answers to our questions.
4 gave us answers.
Yes.
And it was Dylan.
Dylan Stark, Anthony Napolitan, Edwin Delarosa, and don't laugh at my accent.
Churro.
How do you say jalapeno?
Jalapeno.
Exactly. Pinchueto. Fucking Edwin Delarosa and Chris Doyle, the man of the hour.
Yeah, so we were extremely excited about Chris just because he said, that's a lot of questions. Let's just Zoom. And we said, oh, bet. We're super down for that. So we got to spend 40 minutes with Chris. It was funny because we talked for a good amount of time. He just talked. He told us so many cool stories. And then I was like, all right, Chris, well, like, we're going to respect your time. We're going to let you get back to work, blah, blah, blah. He said, no, like, I have fun talking about BMX. And then we went off in a different direction. We were just chit-chatting again. Yeah. And next thing you know, the meeting ends because I don't pay for the Zoom premium. So we have a 40-minute time limit. And it was very heartbreaking.
Oh, yeah. That was my first time doing a Zoom meeting. Zero idea what was going on. And then it just did that. I was like, oh, fuck, I broke it. I was about to cry.
He's like, did it stop working for you? And I was like, yeah, dude, it's my bad. Next time we do that, I'll pay for, I don't know how much it is. If it's a fair amount, I'll just pay for it because Chris's time is worth however much Zoom
Oh, yeah.
is. That was a lot of fun just listening to those stories. So I think, let's see. So we asked them all the same questions.
Yes.
We asked them.
I will pull it up real quick. We asked them. Oh God, I'm so bad at this. If they had any obligations for DC, we asked them what the program was like. If they had any crazy stories or fun memories, how was their pay? And that was it.
Yes. Yeah. So basic questions. We kind of came up with that. We were, like I said, after the park, we were just hanging out talking. Barak brought up the idea. I said, okay, well, let's ask them like these random questions. And we just kind of jotted them down in my notes. And then next thing I know, Barak messages me. I'm at work. And was it Dylan first?
Yeah, it was a screenshot of Dylan Stark replying to me.
He said, yeah, what's up, man? And we didn't expect to get that far.
Oh no, I was expecting to get just left on scene.
And so from there, Barak's like, what do I ask? And I was like, So I just screenshotted the notes we had, and that's what Barak's been asking. And so they weren't really super thought out, but they got the job done.
Insert meme of Plankton. I don't know. I didn't think I'd get this far.
I don't know. I never thought I'd get this far.
So where was I going?
We didn't expect to get any replies.
Yeah, no, we did not expect to get any replies. And then, so anyway, we asked them these questions, and the biggest thing, I don't know. Is there anything else I need to say before we just play our chit chat with Chris?
Not that I can think of.
I can't remember. So we'll rant on it later. Okay, so we're gonna play our 40-minute Zoom with Chris. While you guys are watching this, I just want you to keep in mind at the end of the episode, Barak and I are going to have Siri flip a coin, and then one of us is going to have to take the side of the DC, the Quicksilver I'd say it'd be the CFO or CMO. Anyway, an executive for Quicksilver deciding that we need to shut the program down, right? And then the other one of us is going to take the position of a BMX rider. Yeah. Arguing that they should not shut the program down. And with all of these discussions, the whole point of it is to invoke discussion. So we both have our own opinions of it, but we're more interested in getting you guys to think and getting your opinions on it. So listen to what Chris has to say about the program. And anytime you feel like chiming in, I guess just type it down in there. We saw JDA. That guy on the last podcast, he is just 4 or 5 different replies.
Oh yeah,
because he hit a point in the podcast where he felt like he needed something to say. I love that. I think that's awesome. And so yeah, okay. Here's Chris.
All I see is a no for the can.
I know. Looks good though. I mean, I guess. How much time do you have, Chris?
I have an hour.
Oh my God! Wow.
I don't think we need that much time, but I have.
Gotcha.
I have enough time. Tuesdays and Thursdays are my designated work days.
Okay.
My kids are at daycare. My wife's at work. I can just kind of focus on what I need to do. Yeah. So I showed 2 houses this morning. I wrote one offer, and just kind of hustled this morning. And now I kind of have the afternoon free.
Some free time. Dude, that's sick, dude. Like I said, I appreciate it. Appreciate it so much. Okay, well, let's just tell us what DC was like when you were on there.
First of all, I'm happy to do this. I was excited about this because not enough people ask me about riding for DC, and to me, it was a dream sponsor. I got on in 1999, and DC had wanted to get into BMX. So they wanted to put together a team, and I rode for DK at the time, and DC just became a co-sponsor of DK, but then they picked up a couple other guys like Robbie Morales and Jerry Bagley, Chad Kagi. And then 2 years after that is when Mira got on. So yeah, for a while there, it was just the co-sponsor of DK. And then DC dropped sponsoring the whole team, and they just kept a few of us. They kept me and Colin Winkleman. and Robbie Miranda. So I was very grateful. Yeah, because to me, I'd always loved DC shoes.
Yeah.
Prior to them, I rode for Airwalk, and Airwalks were just so terrible to ride in. So I was elated to ride for DC, and the treatment that I had on DC, just everything, it was all encompassing, from the way they treated their athletes to the pay to everything else. I mean, it was by far one of the best non-bike sponsors that I've ever had.
That's crazy. That you said they dropped the program but kept a couple of you?
Well, they dropped, instead of being a co-sponsor of DK, they just kept a couple DK riders. Like they didn't sponsor, like Lee Ramsdale was on DK at the time. They dropped him. They dropped Neil Wood. They dropped Todd Wakowiak. Like those guys weren't on DC anymore, even though they were still on DK. So that was a weird shift there. Yeah. Like they just kind of picked a couple guys from the DK team that they wanted to keep. And I was doing really well in contests back then, so I kind of became like a no-brainer, I guess.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, let's see. Did you ever get any custom shoes? Signature?
There was one in the works. They had their BMX shoe.
Okay.
And I guess a couple of us were going to get like signature colorways, but mine never came out. I think they did one for the guys in England, like Kai Forte and his brother Leo. They did one for them, and obviously Mira had his signature shoe. But no, I never really had my own. But man, I was just happy. They were so generous with all their product that I never was short on shoes. I had I'm kind of surprised I didn't keep more of the shoes, but man, they had, like, if you ordered one pair of shoes, you got 3. If you ordered like 2 t-shirts, you got a dozen. They kept us like well stocked.
So it sounds like everything we've heard was that they were just incredible. Like they treated everyone so good, everyone that was a part of it. Do you think that's part of the reason that they ended up getting rid of the whole program? Like it was just too expensive? Who else have you talked to? Barak?
So far it's been Edwin Delarosa, Dylan Stark, Anthony Napolitan, and kind of Alfredo Mancuso.
Okay. So I was on
way before.
I was on way before those guys were. I'm old. So gosh, I totally forgot Edwin rode for DC. Jeez. I only went on like a few trips with Edwin and had a few times on DC with him. But honestly, I think DC really prided themselves on being able to treat action sports athletes like how like basketball players were getting treated and football players got treated. And early on, it was all about like bling bling, right? Like diamonds and first class tickets. Like they really wanted to showcase that lifestyle. And BMX was like such a dirtbag thing, like it's all about sleeping in the Walmart parking lot. And I would go on DC trips, or I'd go do stuff for DC, and I'd have my own hotel room. And I'm like, wait, I just got off a trip where we're cramming 10 guys into the Motel 6 motel, like in one room. And now I get my own room. This is fantastic. And I think DC really loved that because they're like, oh, we get to treat these guys a way that they haven't ever been treated before. And once Quicksilver got involved, so I was on for, I think, 4 years before Quicksilver bought DC. And I don't think any of the guys that you've talked to got to experience this, but when Quicksilver bought DC for millions upon millions upon millions, we all got a cut.
Really?
I got a random letter in the mail, and it was from DC. It was from Ken Block and Damon Way, and there was another owner at the time as well. And it was a very nice letter. Like, hey, as you know, we've only sold to Quicksilver. And you know, it was for a lot of money, but we want to express our gratitude. If it weren't for guys like you, we wouldn't have been able to sell it for this much. And I unfold the letter the rest of the way, and there's a check at the bottom. And it was a 5-figure check. So I'm like, oh my God, what is this? Like, this is insane. Like, it was, to get money like that out of the blue, it was like winning like a scratch off ticket or something.
Yeah.
And I called Robbie Miranda and I'm like, dude, did you get a letter from DC? And he's like, yeah, man, I got that letter. I'm like, and I didn't want to like think that I got something that he didn't. I'm like, did you get a check? He's like, yeah, I got a check. So we were just laughing, like, this is insane. And I heard like Danny Way and Rob Deerdick, they got like $1 million each, I think. We did not get that much, of course, but
you got more than you expected.
Like, what other brand would do that? And that to me said a lot about the brand and about the people behind it. And there was one instance where I was in 2001, I was at an X Games, and I was the only, I don't know if Mira was on yet or not, but I was the only guy in dirt jumping that had made finals that year. And I have this huge DC sticker on my helmet. And this is when like dirt jumping was the main event. It was like the big thing. Mm-hmm. And I remember like pushing my bike up the roll-in, and I get to the top and Ken Block's standing there. And it was like after my second or third run or something. And Ken's like, hey, Chris, hey, man, you're doing so good out there, man. Thank you so much for representing us and being a part of our brand. You're the only guy in here right now, and you got the DC sticker. Like, we're so appreciative. I'm like, wow, thanks, Ken Block. And this is before he was like the rally car superhero. He was just like Ken Block, the DC owner. And that made me feel really good. So,
wow, dude, these stories are great. I would never imagine.
So a lot of the guys that you've talked to already, they got on like in the later years when, you know, it was still, you know, very bling bling, but when you got on DC, it was like, whoa. Like,
it was more kind of family owned, right? When you were doing it? I mean,
it was a little bit, it was smaller, and I could have like called Ken Block if I wanted to and like talked to him. But once Quicksilver got involved, you started to see a lot of like bad decisions getting made.
Really cutthroat.
It's just Quicksilver was such a big company. And when they started to really circle the drain, like Quicksilver owned a couple other brands. They owned like Roxy and a couple other things. And this is all speculation. I don't know this to be 100% fact, but once they started doing poorly, Quicksilver, and once all the other brands started doing bad, they would just use DC as their piggy bank. Like, because DC always did well. So Quicksilver just kept taking money from DC, like, oh, we need to stay afloat. So, you know, they would cut the BMX program to keep Quicksilver afloat, stuff like that. So I never once, when DC dropped their program, I was never like, fuck DC, they're a bunch of assholes. I was like, we had some really good times. And there's, you know, so many bike riders have never been treated that way. And I was just really thankful that I got to be one of them.
Well, and I think like for Barak and I's age group, it was kind of like they dropped the program and immediately they got just massive amounts of hate, right? For not supporting BMX and everything like that. But it sounds like from everything they hear, like the support they showed when they had it, almost you guys couldn't have asked for anything better.
No. And you have to know, especially when you're in BMX, the good times are not going to last. And the big money's not going to last. And I don't know, maybe I don't want to pride myself on being more mature than the rest of the guys, but I kind of always knew that it was only going to be a temporary thing. Like, there's no way they could sustain. And even when the economy started to take a dump, I was like, this is only going to be temporary. I guess when you're young, though, you just tend to think things are going to last forever. But I was in my early 30s, and I was like, this isn't going to last too much longer. But I just tried to soak it up when I could. And I was on from the very beginning to the very end. So I took a lot of pride in that. I never I mean, it was a little over 10 years.
Wow.
In fact, I don't know if you can find this. There's an ad, you guys might appreciate this, where I'm doing a handrail in Las Cruces.
Like Pan Am rail.
I don't know. It was just was that a university or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And it was like 30 stairs in 10, or the caption was 30 stairs and 10 years later. Congrats on 10 years. And it was an ad, a DC ad with me.
We were just talking about that last night because we're kind of hyped on this, and we're like, oh, we wonder if he remembers that rail. Because that's when I kind of first heard about you, as Barak was telling me about this crazy guy named Chris Doyle that hit this handrail. And we were over there, looking at it. And I was like, bro, this is crazy. We'll have to find that ad.
Has anyone else done anything on that rail?
Not that specific rail. I know there's a rail somewhere on another stair set that Morgan Wade's done. But yeah, I don't know that. That rail's still insane.
There was a team, Sean McIntosh was on a trip, I think a fit trip out there, and they came across the rail, and I guess he wanted to do something out of it because it's got like a long kink that you come off the end. And I think he wanted to like bar spin off of it or 180 off of it. And like someone on the trip like talked him out of it. Like, no, that's fucked up. Don't even do that. Don't be a one-upper. Like, or I think maybe Van was on the trip, Van Homan, and was like, don't be that dude, man. Don't do it. So
yeah, you did it with the second story essentially, right?
What do you mean?
Was that right, Barak? The stairs that are up to the top? Or was it on the other side?
It's on the other side, I guess.
Gotcha. Oh, okay.
I mean,
there was just a straight drop.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was kind of dead man, but I didn't.
Dude,
yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, wait. So they kind of treated you like a king throughout the program. What did you have to do for them?
Wear the shoes, wear the clothes, go to contests. Their whole thing was like, we're not going to tell you how to be a pro bike rider. You already know how to do that. Just be available when we want you to do things. Like if we want like a photo shoot, be available. And otherwise just wear the clothes, wear the shoes. Super easy, right? There was a short time throughout my stay on DC, I always rode for different clothing companies. Like I rode for Camp 3, and then I rode for Fox for a number of years. And then a lot of people won't remember, but I rode for Famous Stars and Straps in 2008. And I'd been on Famous for 6 months, and they were paying me pretty good too. So I had a paying shoe company and a paying clothing company. And DC had decided they want us to be head to toe. We want you to be, from your shirt to your pants, to your socks, to your shoes, everything DC. But I was like, well, I just started riding for Famous. And my team manager was like, well, what are they paying you? And I told him, and he's like, okay, just forget about that then. And we'll make it so you don't have to ride for them anymore. I'm like, dude, but I got a contract. Don't worry about it. And so they didn't like double my pay, what I was making on Famous, but they made it substantial. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so then now I'm riding like DC clothes and shoes. And they had that DC stores. I don't know if they still have those anymore. And they would allow us, like anytime I was out in California, like I could go to one of these DC stores and they have our pictures in the back. And it's like, if these guys come in, they can take whatever they want. So I would go into the store and I'm like, hey, my name's Chris Doyle. I think my picture's in the back. And someone would walk back there and like, okay, cool. Take whatever you need. And I would just go
grab
and
go.
Start grabbing stuff. So like I said, it was like a dream. And hey, can I get a few things for my girlfriend? Oh yeah. Take whatever you need. And they would like write everything up and they're like, all right, you're good. They had a shop in Irvine at the Irvine Spectrum. And they like me and Corey Bowen went down there one day and we like loaded up his car. And I swear his car was like sagging from like all the stuff that we grabbed. And Bowen was the same way. Bowen rode for Fox, and if you remember, Bowen was like a 3-time X Games gold medalist, and riding for Giant, making a lot of money. So he was on Fox, and they were paying him a lot of money, and they did the same thing for him. They were like, "Oh yeah, whatever Fox is paying you, we'll pay you that too. You just ride DC shoes and clothes." And yeah, so. This isn't the way that BMXers get treated, right? And I was always very aware of that, and I think a lot of other guys were too. But there was like one instance, we were at Interbike, and Edwin was there, and Edwin's wearing Vans, even though he rode for DC. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, oh shit, oh, I totally forgot. I'm like, dude, don't blow this. Like, this is such an amazing opportunity.
Yeah. So all you had to do was just wear the stuff. You didn't have like contest obligations or anything.
No, but the incentives were really good. Like anytime I would do well at a contest, like they had there was contingencies for top 3 places. There was really good photo contingencies, especially early on, because magazines were still really big, like 99 through 2005, 6. I got a cover of Ride, and I had a big DC shirt on. And this is even before I was like paid to wear the clothes, that big DC logo. It was actually my first ever Ride cover, and Losi shot it. And I think I got like $5,000 for it just from DC.
Wow.
So, and that was even before I was like I was on DC, but just as a co-sponsor of DK, but they were so excited about the cover. And like, I didn't even have that written into my contract. They were just like, here's $5,000. Thanks a lot.
Here's some money.
I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was 18. So $5,000 to an 18-year-old, that's, come on.
That's like a new used car.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, what's the craziest story you have from like a DC trip or just the overall experience?
Oh man, that's tough because we did like 2 trips, and I'm sure Anthony probably talked about it, Alfredo as well. There was one trip where we took that like started in Portland, Oregon, and it ended in Salt Lake City, or at least that's where I ended my part of the trip. It was a long trip, and I think the budget for the overall for the trip was like $70,000. We spent like a week at the W Hotel in Los Angeles, and we would just go out. The W's in Hollywood, so we're like at this Hollywood hotel for like a week, and just going out and filming little things like taking a drive out to Riverside and filming at the trails. I filmed this video with Glenn PP that was like actually that played in the DC stores. And we would just do stuff like that. And then we do like shop stops where we set up the box jump and do stuff like that. But the trip, I mean, it was so crazy. Like just the most baller trip of all time. Then there was one year after like X Games where we all went out to dinner, and it was like me, Ken Block, Dwayne, who was the team manager at the time. And like the dude from Lincoln Park sits down right across from me and my girlfriend, my wife now, and just starts talking to us. I'm like, oh, this is really random. Like I knew who he was, but I hated Lincoln Park. And he got up to go to the bathroom. I'm like, Denise, I tell my wife, I'm like, you know who that is? She's like, is that like the rap guy from Lincoln Park? I'm like, yeah, that's totally him. It's like, his name's like Mike Shimona or something. And he was the coolest dude ever. Like super, super nice. And I'm just thinking the whole time we're chatting, I'm like, I fucking hate your music, but you're such a nice guy. So now when Lincoln Park comes on, I let it play.
Good memory.
I don't know if that's the craziest story. I'm sure once we get off this thing, I'll think of other stories, but just, to be treated like that and the whole experience of it all was just so
crazy.
insane.
Well, I mean, a $70,000 budget I hear some stories,
for one
right?
trip. I think the trip was like 2 weeks long. So, but yeah, we spent time, it was supposed to be like the Roughing It trip, the Roughing It tour. And that was supposed to be just like ironic because literally staying in Hollywood. But there was a couple nights where we slept out in the wilderness out in Utah, and just the most bizarre things that there's a couple guys there is a pretty crazy story, but I'm not going to throw this guy under the bus. Maybe I'll tell you sometime when we're not recording.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
fair enough. Oh, dude, that sounds, yeah. Like I hear some guys, they go out, right? They have $1,000 for their week-long trip, and then the card gets declined or whatever. It's just, you guys really did get a good time with that.
Yeah. So when we were on that Roughing It trip that went through Los Angeles, I had just come over. I spent a week in England. I fly straight to this trip. I jump onto this trip, and then I was flying straight to FIS for Montpellier for the FIS contest. So I was in the middle of this really long trip, and I didn't have that many clothes. So I remember we were at the W in Hollywood, and I asked my team manager, who was Mike Allen at the time, I'm like, hey, I need to do laundry. Can I just have the hotel do the laundry? Oh yeah. And the service for doing the laundry was like $300 for like 2 loads of clothes. And I saw that. I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting laundry service.
Yeah.
To me, I've stayed in so many hotels. It's like, you never get the laundry service. They pressed my socks and everything. It was like gnarly.
Oh, dude, that's crazy. So what's like overall, right? Did DC deserve the hate for that? Getting rid of the program?
I didn't think so. The hardcores they're upset, when DC pulls out. It's because you want to see other people have the opportunities that you've had. And there's less money for like in BMX now. And the same thing when Nike pulled out. It really, if people were in the know, they would know that it wasn't really DC, it was Quicksilver. Quicksilver just started screwing the brand. Once they got involved, it was just kind of like a downward spiral. Even though we did have good times, of course, during the Quicksilver years, but that's when you kind of started to see like, okay, this is going to fizzle out. So it was really Quicksilver that did us all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone's pissed at what's up?
Oh, I was just going to say, you were there the whole time, right? So you could kind of watch it deteriorate once it was taken over.
I watched the arc. Yeah. And I never even hear about DC anymore.
Yeah.
In any kind of, I'm not really as involved anymore, but you only really hear about Vans, and I don't hear much about Etnies anymore. And those are like the only 2 big brands that are still in it. So, I don't know.
Yeah, we talked about that last night, that really Vans, I think, is the dominant. They have the market cap in BMX for sure. And what if DC or Nike would have kind of endured it instead of cutting it off? Like if they had waited till now, potentially less competition, so on and so forth.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where we would be now, where they would be now. I wouldn't be surprised if things turn around. If we went through the whole action sports regression. I don't know if you see uptick in contests again. If you see I don't know, more media start to come out. I don't know if a brand like that ever jumps back in. I don't think they're even in skateboarding. I don't think they are what they once were. I mean, even Rob Dyrdek's not on DC anymore, right?
That I'm not sure.
I think I saw Rob Dyrdek trying to sell healthy potato chips.
Oh, okay. Dude, even okay. So we used to do these things. You remember Journeys at the mall?
Yeah.
So Journeys was a huge DC retailer, and we used to have to do these like once a year. We would do the Journeys backyard barbecue, and we would go and set up ramps and do demos. And the whole skate crew would come. So Dyrdek would come to that as well. So the crowds would be so massive. And we would have to sign autographs. We would do 2 hours at the beginning, or we do one show and then 2 hours of autographs, and then another show and then another 2 hours of autographs. And they had to like cut the lines off. And it was purely because of Deerdeck. But Deerdeck would stand and shoot photos and sign autographs like just as long as anyone else did. Like literally shot photos with everyone there. And he was like super professional. But as soon as the time was up, he's like, all right, I'm out. And I watched him run to the bus and like people like running after him, like literally like superstar. But I shouldn't hate on him too much. I mean, he was actually a pretty cool guy.
Yeah. That's crazy.
He never pulled one trick in any of the demos that we did. Like you never saw him pull anything. So he's like this superstar skateboarder, but like really
Never
wasn't
landed
that good.
Well, okay, this is kind of a little off topic, a little not, but there's a big discussion. How much of it, sponsor-wise, right, is skill versus attitude or charisma, I guess? Because, like, you know, you see a lot of just influencers that aren't particularly that good getting picked up. And what do you think?
You mean like back in the DC
Yeah,
days?
yeah.
I think it was a lot. It's a good mix of both. I thought, like, I never thought that like Edwin was the best street rider in the world. I just think he had like this, like you said, like this charisma about him, like this New York City swag that people just sweated. And he had this style that was like all his own, you know, him doing like a 180 bar spin on flat ground looked so much better than someone else doing it. So I think that had a lot to do with like him getting on was just like his whole swagger, his demeanor, his style. He wasn't winning contests, not by a long shot. But he just kind of had that appeal to him that so many people liked. And then there were dudes obviously that were just brought in because they were just super good and they were doing really good in contests. And then some guys, I think the second wave of guys that got on got really lucky because they were all on flow, and then DC upped their budget and they just all got bumped to pro. So I think a lot of those guys got pretty lucky, even though they were all like really, really good. I think some of those guys just kind of right place, right time, which is important too.
It's a lot of it. Damn. Barak, you got any questions you can think of?
So Dylan Stark, I think it was him. He said that the guy from Quicksilver also cut the 6.0 program. Do you know if that's true or not?
That he cut it?
Yeah, like the same Quicksilver people that cut the DC BMX team also stopped the funding for the 6.0 program, or they stepped in and did that.
Oh, I don't know anything about it.
Oh.
I don't know anyone that was affiliated with DC that was ever affiliated with Nike. So I really don't know. Unless you had like a name, I really don't. I don't know if they were the same person. So I can't really comment on that.
Anything else?
Do you know if they helped Brett after his injury anymore? Because I know he got injured and then 6 months later the BMX program stopped. But I don't know if like they maybe still helped with like his medical bills or anything.
I really don't know. I think maybe when he was sponsored by them, I'm sure they were helping him out, but I honestly don't know if they were helping him out afterwards. I know a couple of the brands that he rode for did help him out afterwards, but I don't know if DC was one of them.
No.
I totally forgot Brett was even on. Jeez, I forgot about that.
I mean, that was the whole reason I was kind of mad at DC, because it was like he had the worst accident of his life, and then they just cut the team, and it was kind of like that's like a huge. I mean, I feel like money's important with an injury like that, and that was like a huge source of income just gone for him. But now I realized what happened, and I kind of feel bad for being mad at DC.
Yeah, true.
Well, what I don't know. From a business standpoint, what is a company's obligation to a person once their contracts are up? Like if they're going to drop because I think they dropped the program when like when so many of the guys' contracts were up. So like, okay, we have, I think it was 80% of the riders' contracts were done. So, all right, we're going to end the program here. And then me and Edwin and Bowen had contracts that went for another year. And they offered us, and I think Rob Wise also, his went for another year. They offered us all severance packages, and the severance packages weren't that great. So I actually, I kind of fought it. Me and Bowen both got the same lawyer, and we kind of fought for more of a severance, whereas like Edwin and Rob just kind of took it. And so, yeah, but I don't think any of the other, I don't know. I guess I can't speak on Brett's thing because I don't know what his contract looked like. I don't know if it was actually up, but I know most guys were. So I don't know if his contract was up or not, but it's the point is, I don't know what a company's obligation is. Like if we're dropping the program, we drop these guys. It's unfortunate that he was in the position that he was in, but I don't know where a company's going to start to show compassion for that.
Wow. Yeah,
yeah, that's a touchy subject because I like Brett a lot, and I wish everyone had like jumped in and really helped with the support. I don't know what brands are supposed to do with all that.
Yeah.
Because I think Rockstar can continue to support Brett after his injury for a long time.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
But yeah, I don't know. I can only speculate certain things.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's all I got. Barak, you got anything?
Not at the moment that I could think of.
Chris, what is the biggest thing that you would stress to like aspiring riders, right? To get on the level you were once at?
I don't know how to answer that question in today's modern world. I came in at a time when they were giving out sponsorships like candy, and I never once considered myself a top tier type of rider. I think I was in the right place at the right time a lot of times. And when I turned pro in the end of 1997, BMX was just picking up all this steam. It was like jumping on the wave when the wave's getting going and it's starting to get real big. And I just jumped in. It was like the most perfect scenario if you were going to come in and make some money and get some sponsors. And there were so many events back then that you didn't actually need a ton of sponsors to be successful. If you could get to contests and do well, you're going to make decent money and be successful. But yeah, skill wise, I don't think it's going to take much for anyone to get to the skill level I was at. I don't think I was ever really like anything crazy. I tried really hard. Like I always tried hard, but there was a lot of guys that I thought had way more skill than me that just never got the sponsor interest or did as well in contests. I saw a lot of dudes that every contest, like this guy's going to win this contest 100%, and they would just choke. And then I would come cruising in with my turn down and get like a third. I'm like, all right, cool. But meanwhile, the dude that can do every single trick just totally choked, like just couldn't do well under the pressure. I don't know how that makes me sound, but I was always just very appreciative of just being in the right place at the right time and being liked by the right people, I guess, that and doing the things for my sponsors that made them happy, that allowed me to keep getting contracts, and just kind of being almost more of like a workhorse. We're like, oh, you need me to go on that trip? I'll go on that trip. You need this photo shot? I'll do this photo shoot. Like, I think that's really, I guess, what it takes to get to a level, to get to an honorable level of riding. It's just be willing to do the work, and the work's really fun because it's just riding.
Yeah.
But now with like social media pressures and there's no contests right now. I see people putting out content, of course, but it goes by so fast to where it's hard to say who's going to be around in 5 years. When I was 21, 22 years old, I knew I was going to be around for 5 more years. Even at the age of 30, I was like, I could probably make another 5 years out of this. But now, like the hot 22-year-old, like, is he going to be around 5 years from now? It's like, it's hard to say that he will, or she will, because there's a lot of women killing it now. So I really don't know. That's a hard question to answer. I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I really, the riders out there, I really wish that they could have the opportunities that I had. I just don't know if the world is in a place to support it. I don't know if BMX is in a place to support it, but I look at so many riders now and I'm like, oh, I wish you could just do it the same way that I had the opportunity to do it. Cause it really was, maybe it's just a generational thing, but like, I really feel like I was incredibly lucky.
Wow.
I'll just end it with that. I don't know if that's...
I was just going to say, I was like, it could go off in a different direction, but that's so, Chris, you're so humble and dude, but on the style, like you just had fun riding your bike, right? And you made it look good and you just absolutely killed it. So I think everything was well-deserved, man. Well,
thanks. I appreciate that. And it was a good career and I was very thankful for it, but there's a lot of bullshit that went on too, and like injuries and, but yeah, I always tried to stay humble with it and realize that like this could end at any moment, being like injury, which we've seen. I mean, how many riders were under the unfortunate circumstance of terrible injuries, or, I always knew that the sponsors could drop you at any moment. And so I was always just trying to be appreciative of what I had.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think, dude, that's good. We're gonna let you get back to your work, and thank you again.
Don't send me back to work.
Hey, well, when you get bored, just hit us up. We'll chit chat anytime.
Dude, always happy to talk bikes. I don't get to talk bikes enough.
Yeah.
And we're back after that wonderful podcast with Chris Doyle, the man, the myth, the legend. Once again, thank you, Chris Doyle, so much for that. It meant the world to us.
Yeah, if Chris, if you ever see this, thank you. That was great.
Thank you a million. Plus
we never expected to get the time, so it was good. Now let's see. So we talked to a handful.
Yes.
But we only zoomed with Chris.
Yes.
What did Edwin say?
So asked Edwin if I could, or I told him we're doing a podcast, asked him if he could do or answer a couple questions. He said, yeah, hey, what's up? So I asked him the questions, and he told me, the DC team got cut after it got bought up by Quicksilver, as we heard from Doyle. Asked him if it was due to funding issues. He said they cut a few teams, which I think Dylan Stark elaborates on. So you'll hear about those teams when we get into his response. I asked him how his overall experience was riding for DC. He told me it was the best. The trips were always a great time, got paid good. The hotels were super nice. The team managers always took us out to great drinks and dinner. Great dinner and drinks.
Great drinks and dinner.
Yeah, just the dinner was a little bit. But the Sprite, now that I'm louder, I asked him if he had any favorite memories. He said, I have a few, let me think. Every trip was always a great time, doing demos, signing autographs, meeting girls. My man. The team was all over the place with different riders, so it was nice to link up with them. And then just thanked him for his time, asked him if I could ask him any questions in the future, if I had any, and he said sure. So, that was really cool to me.
Yeah. Now, out of all the ones we talked to, how many followed you?
Let's see, there was zero that followed me.
So you guys follow BMXer Barak. He would really appreciate that.
Yes.
He's a little sad. Genuinely, I thought after talking with Chris, he'd be like, oh, these guys are cool, and then follow us.
Yeah, if he watches this.
No, it just getting to have this input on here, I think made it that much more valuable.
Oh yeah.
And so Edwin, the one thing, what was it? He said something, the signing autographs thing. That was a good story from Chris about Dyrdek. Yeah. He's all he's a cool guy, but I never saw him land anything. It's so funny. Not Edwin. He was talking about Rob Dyrdek. Edwin, I'm sure, lands stuff.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, Dylan said, so this is what Barak asked Dylan. He said, so I'm sure it had to do something with Quicksilver, but do you know why DC stopped their team? And how was your overall experience riding for them? Quicksilver was hurting, so they brought in a new guy to come make budget cuts. And Quicksilver owned DC, so they pretty much cut whatever they didn't think was needed. Women's sports, surfing, moto, and BMX. It was the same person who Nike hired that cut the 6.0 program. DC was killing it at the time, and it made no sense, but DC was so rad and one of my best sponsors. It happened out of nowhere and really ruined DC as a brand in my eyes, and it doesn't seem like they have made much of a comeback since. We were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
Like, what have you seen from DC in the last 5 years?
I've seen jack shit.
It's like they, I think, we went in depth on this a little bit, is that, and Chris did especially, it seemed like once Quicksilver bought it, that was pretty much the death.
Yeah.
And we brought it up in episode 1.5 of this. They sold for $84 million.
Yes. Million with an M.
With an M. Million.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars.
So I think they all got money. The way Chris
Huge
explained
cuts.
it. Huge cuts. Wait, huge?
Huge. It's going to be huge.
But once that happened, it really switched away from like a family-owned thing to more of a corporate, cutthroat type deal. And maybe Quicksilver, like, if they suck so bad, how do they have the buying power to buy up DC? You know what I mean?
I have zero idea. I mean, maybe it saved them somehow. Just they're playing the long game, which is a shitty long game.
Yeah,
but
that's interesting to think about. Like, imagine they're really struggling. They're like, quick. We need something.
Quick, silver. Brand name.
We need something that's doing good so we could buy it up and survive.
Yes.
And that was DC. Well, Chris, when he said piggy bank, I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Like, that's deep. Because they would just reach in DC and take their money.
My hand's in the cookie jar. I'm taking a cookie.
I thought you had something important to say, so I just left it open to you. And then it was just like awkward silence. And then you hit me with the cookie jar line.
Cut.
Okay, anyway, there was one more aside from Doyle. Well, and Brett. We'll talk about Brett a little bit later. Who was the other one?
Anthony Napolitan. One of the first dudes I ever looked up to. Used to be sponsored by Levi's. I'm sure you heard me talk about them in the... Anyways, one podcast I talked about the Levi's BMX team. Put me lip syncing the number. So yeah.
16.
Number 69. Nice. Fuck. Oh yeah, so talked about Levi's, Anthony Napolitan, one of the riders for them, badass park and trail guy. I asked him the questions we talked about earlier, to which he replied with a nice lengthy thing, which I really appreciate. Things have changed a lot since then. The obligations back then were different because everything was so contest and TV based in the terms of contracts. As long as I did well at contests and represented the brand in a positive way, that was all that really mattered. The other great thing was that they wanted us to go on DC funded trips. I always made time for that because it was a great opportunity to mesh with the team and ride amazing spots. The program was amazing. It was a neck to toe deal. We had a great team with some of the best riders in the world on board. Towards the very end, they were doing a lot of signature shoe projects for the riders. Sadly, mine never made it into production. I still have one used and one brand new pair of my signature sample shoes. The pay was incredible. I can't speak for any of the other riders on the team, but you can't find endemic or non-endemic brand that paid like DC Shoes did in BMX. I think I said epidemic the first time. Damn you, coronavirus.
Do you know what endemic means?
No, I went to school here in New Mexico.
Oh yeah, me too.
49th in education.
Hey.
Can't even count to 49.
Shut up. He's a smart guy. Okay, so there's like 3 things in there that I wanted to bring up. But the first one, the coolest one, let's talk about the shoes.
Oh, beautiful shoes.
Beautiful. They're somewhere on the screen, I hope, if our editor did it right. But one thing we really appreciated is not only that they took 5 seconds out of their day.
His words, not mine. It's like girls don't appreciate 5 seconds. Doug doesn't appreciate 5 seconds.
Okay. No, but drink your fucking water.
Fuck you. Sponsored by Aquafina and Taco Bell.
Oh yeah, we'll
get into that later.
So we were fucking filming this podcast literally bro, like 2 hours ago. We went to a different spot. We set it up, right? We spent a long time setting it up.
Yes.
Then a security guard comes and we're like, God damn it. So we start unsetting it up. We talked to him. He was actually really cool. He's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, oh, we're going to try and film a podcast. Oh, a podcast. Yeah. Oh, I see this bike. You guys do any tricks? And Barak gave him a sarcastic answer. What did you say?
No stunts here.
Yeah. No stunts here. It's like, damn, okay, that didn't give it away, right? And so anyway, I'm like, if we gotta go, just tell us before we finish setting up. And he's like, well, since we're COVID vaccination center, like this closed to the public, we're like, okay. And they just stood there and we're like,
can I help you?
Yeah. And he's all, it's fine. You guys can go ahead and film your podcast. And we're like, what? That's weird.
I know.
And so anyway, things were really looking up.
Oh yeah.
Boy, were we wrong. So he left us alone. We were like, damn, we're charming.
Oh hell yeah.
And he left us alone. We set it up. We got going. We filmed our podcast. We're damn near done. And Barak's like, how long is it? We go to look and it's not recording. Okay, because the memory card that I brought was full. It capped out at like 7 minutes. So 7 minutes. And so it wasn't recording. I was like, oh my God. And this is just after we laughed. Like I've like laughed that hard a few times in my life. We were dying. And I'm going to put a clip because you could probably barely hear the audio, but it was so funny. And it wasn't funny, but like we were dying.
So we're in the middle of setting up and I see a security guard walking from yonder. It's not funny. Stop fucking laughing. Damn it. And action. So, I can't tell a story when you're making that fucking face. Okay.
It's the headphones.
God damn.
Okay, you can tell the story.
Alright, so security. Damn it. That's fucking hilarious.
And I was sad that the podcast is RIP and now we're doing it again because it's fucking 2 a.m. right now. We're here in the middle of nowhere. Like I used to work there in that building. This is a
pathology
consultant.
They build paths.
And here we are. But so anyway, that's kind of how our day was going. It was really fun and funny until it wasn't. And like we burned our bridge with the security guard. He let us film one podcast technically. So we're like, let's go get food and let's come back to a different spot. And so then we went to get food. We went to Jack in the Box. The line was around the building. Okay.
Oh, you almost got backed into too.
Me.
Yeah, you didn't see that fucking truck? Okay.
That girl's an idiot.
I know.
Women drivers.
Well, I already canceled.
Delete that part.
This next episode's going to be awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Are women BMXers as bad as women drivers? Cut.
That was good. And I want to include that whole thing in there, but
Fuck.
Paris on the next episode.
Fuck y'all.
So, checking the box. Then we're like, okay, let's try Whataburger. Drive across town. I think it's across town. Whataburger too. It's a long line. Barak said, this will take like 30 minutes. I said, I don't want to wait 30 minutes. Let's try the other Jack in the Box. Boom, same line.
Wow.
So Taco Bell came in clutch. We drove across town again. Went to Taco Bell. So shout out Taco Bell. You're fueling this 2 a.m. podcast.
Yes.
Even though you put lettuce on Barak's.
I fucking hate lettuce.
Okay. So that's the long story of why we're here. This part 2. So I think this one's gonna suck compared to the other one. I mean, it's gonna be better because it's more to the point. I mean, aside from that long rant we just went on, it's more to the point. But I think I'm kind of annoyed at the whole thing, and I like I want to bring up things that we said that were funny before, but you can't force it, So you just have to let it happen. But anyway, shoes. Unless you wanted to add something about the last 3 hours of our life.
It was shit. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. I mean, I feel bad for you guys because it was like, to me, it was personally so fucking hilarious.
We did good, but
Yes.
we were loud. We had good posture.
Oh, shit.
It was funny, and now we're just like I'm drinking Diet Baja Blast, and I ate Taco Bell. I don't eat food like that.
I do, as you can tell.
Okay.
Did they already see Anthony Napolitan shoes? You can see them again if you already have.
They're up on screen again.
Sheesh. Those shoes bussin'.
I hate it here.
Respectfully.
Okay, but that was it. That's what got us on that thing. So super huge shout out to everyone that replied, because they genuinely did add a lot of value.
Oh, yeah.
And without them, this would not have been as funny
Oh, yeah.
or as good.
Or as informative.
Or as informative. Again, we'll plug like their Instagrams and stuff. You guys should know who they are, but every little bit for our 100 listens that we get, you guys, I don't know, but it did actually mean a lot, because they are doing stuff and they're busy, but that's something with this program is, like Chris said, he was glad to talk about it, and I think we disagree here, but I think it was because of the DC program itself is something that was really not talked about, how good it was.
Yeah.
And he wanted to talk about it more. Maybe he just wanted to talk about BMX. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I feel like he's just busy with real estate all the time. He's a dad. I heard somewhere he's like retired from BMX, but I'm sure he still rides when he can.
He's a handsome man.
Oh, that's sus.
Yeah, turn it on me.
Insert a picture of an Uno reverse card. But yeah, I think he was just stoked to talk on BMX. I feel like he's still in love with BMX.
Definitely.
It's unfortunate on why I think he doesn't ride anymore, because I'm not 100% sure on the details, but in a city northern of us 3 hours, he had a heart attack on a kink road trip and almost lost his life from it. And that was heartbreaking to hear. But I know after that, he started riding with like a heart monitor and had to ride with somebody. So, I'm sure that's already kind of hard in itself.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and we were thinking he went pro in 97.
Yes.
I was born in 96. And so, like, he's had a decent career, but he's got to be, 40?
Yeah, I believe he's in his
40s?
40s. I saw a post where it was like he's in his 40s and still riding.
That's incredible.
Oh, for sure.
So let's see, where were we going with that? Oh, that he loves BMX and he just wanted to talk about it. So anytime we're bored, we're gonna hit him up, and we're gonna open it up with the numb thing. Do you remember?
Yeah. So, it's fucking story about that Lincoln Park. Be like, yo, Doyle, how you doing? Be like, oh, I'm doing good. Be like, yeah, dude, I was riding last night. I got a shinner, and like my leg, I've just become so numb. I can't feel it there.
Just plug Lincoln Park lyrics randomly throughout the conversation, because he's like, I hate Lincoln Park. That'd be funny.
Be like, yo, man, you want to go to the skate park or the Lincoln Park? Or...
Lincoln Park? I thought he'd become a fan after that. But okay, so anyway, about them taking their time out of their day, the shoes.
Yes.
We showed him the shoes, but what I loved about it is, like, he could have just taken a picture of the box He could have just opened them up, taken a picture.
Just meh.
Yeah, meh.
Click. Camera noises.
But instead, he took it outside. Nice lighting,
Beautiful
gave us a
lighting.
good picture.
Good
And
angles.
He actually said he's going to send a pair to one lucky listener or viewer who subscribes.
Psych. Yes, I got it right.
First try.
Fuck yeah.
No, he didn't say that. But if you want to like and subscribe, that's cool too.
So many people are gonna unsubscribe now. The most amount of
Dude,
dislikes
that
ever.
was good. You were quick with the button. Yeah, it's like 15 dislikes. I wanted the shoes. Okay, so there was one more pro. Wait. You love Anthony Napolitan.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, you
Huge.
talked about it in the other podcast. We can't remember the number.
Yeah.
But you're gay for Chris Doyle.
You
Gay for Kevin Praza.
I am sus for Garrett Reynolds. Doug said he thought I said I'm bike curious. I clarified and said I'm bike furious.
Bike Furious.
Yes.
That's what I heard. That button makes it so much better.
Better than our dumbass laugh. I don't know if that's going to be in there. So us laughing like jackasses for 10 minutes. Twice.
Okay, so now we talked to one more pro because the reason this DC thing really upset Barak was because of Brett.
Yes, Brett Benisewicz. He was a rider. I believe he's around my age. But when I first started, I looked up to him because, once again, my age. And dude is like a prodigy. Like
Killing
amazing. I think he invented the cash roll, which is like a front flip to back flip 360. I don't know
It's
what
a
it is.
twisty thing.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean, I don't get it.
As Sean would say, it's not bicycle fucking gymnastics.
Oh, yeah.
Bike gymnastics.
It's bike wizardry. But so he had an accident 6 months before DC cut their BMX team. 6 months and a day. 6 months. 6 months and a day. But I honestly personally thought it was a little sooner, like a couple months. But I hated DC because I thought they didn't support him anymore. Well, I knew they didn't support him anymore because they cut the team. But I still feel like they could have gave him like a severance pack or something, like more help.
Yeah.
Just be like, yo, man, you have a bunch of medical bills. You're going through the worst time in your life. Like 15 days in coma. 15 days in coma. He was in a coma for 15 days. I don't know what English is anymore. I apologize.
It's too late.
Damn. But so 15 days in a coma.
Yeah.
Like huge medical bills, I assume, because we live in America. That's just one of the beautiful things.
Well, and like I said on the last thing we tried to film, for me, right, when I went to the hospital, it was for 3 days, and it was like 15 grand. Granted, I got the nice ride in the ambulance, but where he's in there for 2 weeks, self-induced coma, right?
Yes.
And dude, that's expensive.
Oh.
Granted, I'm sure at the time some of the sponsors helped, but
yeah, I'm sure.
there's no way to know. He didn't really tell us.
Yeah. But I mean, they can only help so much too.
True.
Because I mean, Scotty has a whole bunch of sponsors. Scotty Kramer, another YouTuber. If you don't know him, he had an other life-changing injury where I think he broke his neck and was paralyzed.
He bumped his head.
No, but so he had a bunch of medical bills and a lot of people had to step in and help him. So I mean, I assume it was worse with Brett because social media wasn't a thing really.
True.
So he couldn't have just like gone out like GoFundMe. That was never heard of.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think. Well, and so like the other rant we went on, right, was that he built this kitchen.
A skate park.
Yeah, the skate park.
Named the kitchen.
I'm sure there was a kitchen there, but the skate park was named the kitchen.
I'm gonna become a chef.
It's a
and name like kitchen, the skate park. Like, what are you doing? Oh, I'm at the skate park. Oh, sick. You down to ride? Be like, yeah, after I get off work. Wait, what? Shut up! I got a fucking burger to make.
You just hurt my head. Okay. So he built his skate park, right? And it wasn't like his own skate park. It was a public skate park that I think he spent a lot of his own like money on, that his sponsors helped out with and things like that. But in South Bend, wherever it was at, huge park, and he doing that for the community, like we talked about. if I win the lottery, right?
Yes.
Build a skate park for everyone, for me and you and maybe a small handful of people. That's what I'd do. But he did it for whoever wanted to come pay and ride, and that does a lot for the community.
Oh yeah.
And but after his accident, okay, he still had the kitchen. He'd still be able to ride there and progress there over the next few years. But at some point, it started to struggle, like it wasn't busy enough, or he wasn't riding at a pro level. He wasn't making the same amount of money it was. For whatever reason, it hit financial issues, and he had to tear it down. And when he had to tear it down, you see this post. It's a time lapse of this poor guy all by himself dismantling his dream.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That's heartbreaking.
That's super sad. No, so like no one was there to help him.
Yes. But everybody would have been there to ride.
Yeah. Yeah. If he's like, hey guys, you want to come over for a sesh? It's like everyone would be there, right? But hey guys, you want to come help me manual labor? And they're like, ooh.
Like, no, I gotta sweep the dirt.
Walk my goldfish.
Gotta vacuum the front yard.
So that's shitty.
Yes.
But anyway, I just wanted to go on that tangent because that's kind of messed up. Some people suck. Not Brett, like people who didn't help Brett. Obviously, that's what I'm talking about.
But I mean, we didn't help Brett.
We didn't.
I'm sure if we were there, we would have. I'd like to think so. I
got a lot to do.
Same.
Just kidding. I was like, this is like, because he's in Indiana's forever far away from us. Mm-hmm. Maybe he didn't want anyone.
True. Maybe. I mean, maybe if it's like a heartbreaking situation, he just wanted to be left alone.
I'd be emotional.
Oh yeah, same.
Like, because that's not fair. What happened to him is like, you couldn't, it's not like, I mean, yes and no, he messed up in a sense, but it's not like, look, you're driving, right? You get nailed by a drunk driver and die. That's not fair to you.
Oh, no.
You're just minding your own business.
I mean, I'm sure I wouldn't care because I'm fucking dead.
Yeah,
but.
Okay. But if you were the drunk driver and you hit somebody and died, you're like, damn, that's my fault.
I don't know, because I'd be dead.
Okay. You didn't die. Either case, let's say
Okay.
you didn't die.
Okay.
You'd be like, damn, that's my fault.
Yes.
Yeah. And
don't drink and drive.
and it's not like unfair when it's your fault. But in Brett's aspect, something like that, it's like he's up here, he's killing it. Like
Yes.
Life is good from what you hear about the DC program. Life is very good.
Especially at his age.
Yeah. And then everything flips like that.
Yes.
And so, losing your pride and dreams as a result of that's that'd be tough.
Well, I mean, for him too, it's like not even just losing everything in BMX. It's just like everything in his life has changed, from like taking a shower to eating to just life in general. I mean, got to be heartbreaking at such a young age too. I mean, I wouldn't want it to happen like somebody who's in their 30s or 40s, but somebody who's like, I don't even think it was 20 yet. Like, I think it was still a teenager when that accident happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible because we're mid-20s, yeah.
Let me see if I could find his age real quick.
Yeah, early 20s. I bet he's 28.
I feel like somewhere in that ballpark.
28.
Dude, I can never spell his last name. Brett.
Banana sandwich.
He's 26 years old. He was born September 26th in 1994.
That's
so
crazy.
He's actually a few months younger than me. So if that happened in 2012, yeah, because it was DC got cut in 2013.
Yeah.
His was 6 months before that. I'm not going to do the math because I can't.
2012. He was born in 94.
Yes.
So 18.
Yeah, 18, 17. So he's like not even considered an adult yet.
Yeah.
And his whole life just, well, I mean, not so much taken in a sense, but just altered. Drastically. Because, I mean, he does, from what I know, have his fine motor skills, like walking and all that stuff that Scotty so much doesn't yet. But I noticed that something with his speech, it seems like. So I don't know what kind of injury or, human brain's confusing.
It's like, it's not fair regardless. No. I think, dude, that's tough. And so you reached out to Brett.
Yes.
And he said, hey, man, we're doing a podcast about DC shoes.
Yes,
Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Yes.
He said, absolutely.
Psych. So I messaged him on Instagram. I was like, me and my friend are doing a podcast about DC shoes, and we're wondering if you'd be down to answer a few questions if you have the time. That was Tuesday.
He gave us some thought, a couple days of thought.
It wasn't even read. But when he read it, he replied and he said, thanks for reaching out, man, but I'll pass. To which, I mean, was upsetting emotionally because he's the one I honestly wanted to talk to the most, just because
his story kind of sparked this.
Yes. But, I mean, I'm not mad at him that he didn't reply. I'm sure he has a good reason. I mean, me selfishly, I would have been like, yeah, man, what's the questions? And then read the questions and be like, yeah, psych. Please take that button away from me.
Like, yeah, no, it's good. It's good. Because I always forget about them. And I think that one's perfect. Yeah, so it was nice of him to actually reply. Yeah. Okay. But no, for real, it was nice of him to reply, even though he didn't give us the answers we wanted, because we really did want some closure. Some closure.
I at least wanted closure.
That's a good word. But there's still so many unanswered questions. Like the for me, him to say that is like there's a couple of reasons.
Assumption.
It's sus, first of all. Because he could have just said no. Or he could have just said like, I mean, sure, man, what you got, and then done like Barak, ha ha ha, laugh. Or you didn't laugh.
Hey, like, oh yeah, it depends on the questions though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, like the couple of pros said that, like Dylan, right? Depending on the questions. But I think he might have, maybe he's still getting hooked up with DK somehow.
DC.
Maybe he's still getting hooked up with DC somehow, and he doesn't want to like burn any bridges and doesn't want to like, bring anything up in that aspect. Maybe it's a really personal thing for him and he doesn't want to talk about it. Like that's very understanding too. Oh, yeah. And maybe he just has a lot of PR training and doesn't want to get himself in something that could get him in trouble or say the wrong things, like saying somebody sucks or whatever.
Going Doyle said. Yeah, I mean, Edwin wasn't the best street rider. I was like, I was like, cut.
I think, see, and that's interesting. I want to check with him and make sure we can use everything he said. And so like if
I mean,
not,
I doubt Edwin will ever watch it.
Be in there, true. But that's interesting because I think they just think on a different level. Like to him, he wasn't talking shit.
Yeah,
like he's just stating a fact. Edwin wasn't competing. He wasn't technically the best street rider at the time, and but then Doyle also said he wasn't. So it's really
only plus two. From what I'm confused. I forget which names he used, but it was with the handrail he did. Mm-hmm. And he said Sean McIntosh, and I think Van Homan went to that rail.
And somebody was going to one-up him.
Yeah, I believe it was Sean McIntosh. But I mean, Van Homan was like the Garrett Reynolds back then. I'd highly recommend watching Van Homan, Criminal Mischief, that video part. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Don't give me that look. So, I mean, if he's riding with Van Homan, then it's kind of like understandable to be like, I mean, Van Homan is the best, so I don't think Edwin is. It'd be
true,
like...
Yeah, true.
Because, I mean, it's like...
Garrett Reynolds is the best right now.
Yeah.
I think.
So if you'd ask me, like... I don't know, I'm sure I could find
Chad
a pro.
Curley.
Yeah, if you're like, well, Chad
that's
Curley...
tough. They go head-to-head a lot.
Yeah. If you're like, Devin Smiley's not the best, with Garrett Reynolds in mind, but Devin Smiley kills it at the technical game.
Yeah. And Edwin killed it with the style.
Oh, yeah. The steez. Well, I think he didn't invent the hot bar, but I think he really brought it into style. So it really shaped BMX Street into what it is today. So I think that's why he's like one of the GOATs.
Yes. Nigel does very good. I said Nigel to make a funny joke. I was joking. Canceled. We talk too much shit on this podcast.
Or maybe we don't talk enough. Who knows?
Maybe not. Okay. So anyway, Brett giving us those answers. No, but Brett giving us that really left a lot of things open.
Yes.
Because had he said, yeah, they cut me like right after this, like when I needed them the most, it's dirty, I'd be like, ooh, they should have done something, right? But if Brett said, no, they really helped me out a lot, like I understand the reason for everything, they did the best they could, it's like, okay, fair enough. Like, why should we feel any
Well, I mean, Chris Doyle brought it up, like, why should DC have any obligation to them if the contract ended?
Yeah.
But I mean, me personally, like, on a moral standpoint, I feel like they should have been like, look, man, you're probably, like, here's 6 months of what you would have got paid if you were still on our team. Like, we wish you the best. Good luck with everything.
Yeah.
Because that still at least would have brought, like, a good light to me in DC. Like, you know, they had to make some cuts, which is unfortunate, but they're still good people at heart.
Instead of just cold, hard business people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dirty fucking wolves.
What was the other side topic you wanted to talk about?
Oh, dude, I don't remember.
Come on, Brett, there's one more.
This night's been all over the place.
Dude, I know. And I feel like we've repeated ourselves, but we haven't because it was already filmed. Oh, that's it. Brett's reply is all I got.
Well, I mean, if we're going to other people that replied, Alfredo Mancuso, another YouTuber I watch, he replied.
Barely.
I asked him the questions and he's like, yeah, man, that's a lot. If you can email them to me because my DMs are flooded right now, I'll get back to you. So I sent him an email with the questions and unfortunately I think it got lost in there, so he didn't reply. Right after the Chris Doyle interview where I was starstruck still.
Yeah.
Still am, honestly. But Ryan Biz Jordan replied and he asked us like why DC shoes or what made us talk about this.
Yeah.
So I told him why, and then he just liked the message, and I was like, I mean, I could ask him the questions, but I was like, I don't know what we need answers to anymore, or like what he knows that Doyle doesn't. Because it seems like Doyle was on there probably the longest. From start to finish.
No, that's what he said is that he opened the program up when they picked it up from DK. They added those guys on, and then he was there until the end, which he got ripped off. Because when we asked him about the signature shoes, he didn't get anything.
I know. Malarkey.
But Anthony Napolitan had some in the works, and he got some prototypes. And Doyle's been on there the longest for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I guess, I don't know why they ripped him off.
Seniority thing.
Seniority. Yeah. No, it should have gone. I mean, I don't know. Should have gone Doyle first.
Yeah.
Just because I like him now. No, I've always liked him.
Same.
But so we had those guys that didn't really reply but kind of replied. Regardless, it was way more than we expected.
Oh yeah.
We thought, dude, with Chris Doyle, I got on. It was super awkward because I was waiting for Barak. Barak didn't sleep the night before because he's like,
"Oh, Santa!" Got like 4 hours of interrupted sleep.
Just waiting for Santa. Hands in the cookie jar.
I'm apparently a boomer, so I don't know how Zoom works. So I'm just like waiting for this notification, like join this call. Then go on the email, and it's like, press this link to join. I was like, oh, that's how this works. Went in, my camera wasn't on. It was just a picture of me.
Nobody can.
Yeah.
Doyle was proud.
Yes, he does them better though.
Yeah. So I got there like 1 minute beforehand. I was at work, as you guys could tell. And I was just sitting there waiting. And then they said, Christopher Doyle. And I was like, ah! And then I was just like, hey. I like tried to make small talk. And then I was like, because Barak wasn't there, right? And I'm like, fuck. We're not very punctual. We don't look very punctual. Chris is right on time. Like 12, boom, he's in. And I'm like, hey, Barak hates Zoom, so I don't know if he's going to show up. And Chris is just like, how's he going to Zoom if he hates Zoom? And I was like, and then Barak finally popped in. And it was just a really awkward thing at first. And then we tried to talk about the weather and, so, but anyway, it turned out okay until the Zoom ended and made yet another awkward
God, I felt
deal.
bad that whole time because Chris Doyle was just talking and my dumbass is there just staring at him like, dude, this is Chris Doyle. Like, this is Doyle on a Zoom with us. I was like, seeing myself in the camera. I'm like, oh, do something stupid. So I just like, do something else. Yeah, I agree. It's all fucking awkward. It's like, shut up. Just let the man talk.
Yeah, well, and I think we did. One thing I've learned from a lot of other podcasts is people get pissed when they keep interrupting the person that's telling the story.
Oh, shit.
Which I think I did a couple of times.
Yeah, that sounds horrible.
Shut up. But
I don't see white people.
But Chris kept... I was waiting for you to do it again. After the email, he said, I don't get to talk BMX very much, so sorry if I was long-winded. Like, here's this nice, humble man taking his time out of his busy day to chit-chat with some youngsters. And we're old, but... And then he's like, sorry if I was long-winded. It's like, dude, you could talk all you want, and Barak will just stare at you.
Could listen all day. It's on my stomach, just like twinkle eyes.
Okay. Okay. So now, at the end, we're going to be debating. But before that, let's run through some facts. First of all, what was the program like?
Overall, like every pro said it was the best sponsorship they ever had.
They were treated like gods.
Yes. Which is why another thing we brought up in 11 before 11.5 is that I think the reason a lot of people got mad at DC was because it was like the best sponsor they've ever had, and no sponsor ever did what they did. So I think they just wanted it to last forever.
Yeah, of course.
And when they took away that just, I don't know, treat from them, they were like, man, fuck this. This is bullshit. Like, I don't want to go back to reality of shitty paychecks and Motel 6.
Yeah. And like, so we talked about this and the one that didn't get recorded. I feel like the only people that were upset were the people who were not riding for the program. I feel like Doyle and Anthony and those guys were like, oh yeah, like, I mean, it sucks, but it's over. But Barak brought up, so I could be completely off base there, but Barak brought up that some of the other guys would like throw shoes off the balcony.
Yeah, I forgot who it was. I think it was a rider from On Some Shit or the Come Up, but they posted a video of like box full of DCs, like they just got threw them off the balcony. And they're like, man, fuck DC. So
some people were salty.
Yeah.
But did they ride for DC?
See, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I think it was Alfredo Mancuso.
Oh, God.
It was beep. That rode for DC that threw the shoes off.
Okay.
Brad Sims. See, I still don't know if Brad Sims. Just kidding. Nah, he's a really good rider. Just, I don't know. I didn't like his attitude.
Yeah,
about
that'd
the
be
whole
a
fit
good.
thing.
That'd be a good discussion for the next one.
I don't
Not
know.
the next one, but then the one after.
Oh, maybe just talk about sponsors and pay. Anyways,
Yeah.
So he tweeted out something about DC, but I mean, I still don't know if he was sponsored by DC or not.
Yes, Lord Brad was on DC. He's in the magazine.
And then, oh yeah, he was sponsored by DC.
He was. Look, hold on, let me find him. Look, there's a lot of. So this is 2011. This is like the peak of DC, I think. But it's crazy because I didn't know of Brad back then. He wasn't a big figure, I don't think.
Huh.
Was he?
For me, yeah.
Look,
but that was more for the props
There he
and
is hopping
road
over
fulls.
this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I know there's... God, I wish I could find the picture.
So the program, what was the program like? Yeah, no, I think they were all super royalty.
Yeah, they were treated extremely well.
$70,000 trip budgets, $300 laundry service. In this little magazine, it talks about the trip that Doyle was talking about. And dude, good stories. So you think that they wanted it to last longer?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Obviously,
who wouldn't?
yeah, of course.
Because I mean, another thing, my personal favorite thing was just like being able to go to a DC store and be like, yo, my picture's in the back. I'm Christopher fucking Doyle. Just go back, look, and they're like, all right, take whatever you want.
Dude, that'd be so nice. Oh, yeah. That's where he's all like the car's loaded up, like sagging because of it. Talk about what you talked about last time. Do you remember?
Me personally, I couldn't do that. I'd go in there and be like, hey, I'm Barak Mitchner. I think my picture's in the back. Come back and be like, all right, yeah, your picture's back there. Just take whatever you want. Come up with a pair of socks and be like, is it cool if I take these? They're like, yeah, just take whatever you want, man. Come back with like a shirt and be like, it's cool if I take this too? Like, yes, just take whatever you want. Come up with some shoes, be like, can I get these too? Like, no, just fucking leave the store. Go back, rip my picture off. They're like, this guy's fucking annoying.
Write it out, throw it out. I heard, I think Kevin said that Vans does that in their stores. But that's like, when I heard that, I was like, dude, that is the dream.
Oh yeah.
Because okay, you're on a road trip, right? You're like, oh, I want to go to Denver and ride, and then you're in Denver and you're like, oh, I need a new shoe. One new shoe.
Yes.
And then you go to the shoe store. Hey, and they're like, oh yeah, whatever you want. You're like, yeah. Like, dude, that is for real a dream. Aside from getting paid lots of money, but it's like that saves you a lot of money. You're just always fresh.
Yeah, because I mean, what, shirts are like $20, shoes are like 80.
Don't feel like washing your laundry? Fuck it, throw it away. Go to the store.
God, I think it's Floyd Mayweather. It's some boxer. Apparently well, I mean, obviously he's had to wear the same underwear twice, but now he like never reuses underwear. I don't know why that fact matters, but it's just he's so rich. He just buys underwear and just wears it once and like, meh.
It's probably like, sells it on the internet.
Sub to his OnlyFans.
Okay, so back to topic.
Please don't kick my ass. You're really strong and a good boxer.
Oh, you're talking about Logan Paul.
I said really strong and a good boxer.
Okay, so the second question, what was the program? No, the first question was, what was it like? The second
The second program.
The second question was, what were the obligations? And it sounded like it was really loose. And that's what makes it a really interesting thing to me. What?
Edwin never got the message. Ed her bike, just wearing Vans.
Yeah.
It's like you have no obligations yet. You still failed.
You could do whatever you want.
Just please wear our product.
Just wear the product, man.
Doesn't wear product.
He's like, Chris is all, bro, what are you doing? But that's his attitude and the mentality, I think. Or he just was clueless at the time. Vans, DCs, they all look the same.
Yeah. I'm going to start a Vans company and call it Shoes.
But that's something that I think is impressive. I mean, maybe, I don't know how a lot of companies work, but I feel like a good amount of them, it's kind of ranked based by how you perform and how you do. Whereas DC, it seemed like, dude, just wear it head to toe sponsor.
Yes.
Ride your bike, have fun, go on trips, wear a DC logo, and here you go. Here's your money. Here's this. Here's that. And you're set. That's a good gig.
Oh, for sure.
And then so the pay was the best in the business from Anthony was the only one who really touched on it, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so much, not really the pay, but like the benefits of just like amazing road trips. But I still don't know if they had health insurance, which is something I regret not asking
that's
Doyle.
Bugging me.
Because I know Levi's did. So, but never heard like of expensive, nice hotels and road trips.
And the checks they all got when DC sold.
Yes.
Right? They got, I don't know if we talked about this in this one. I don't think we did.
I don't think so either.
But they all got, he said, a 5-figure check.
Yeah, I learned last podcast what 5 figures means. I thought it was $5,000.
5 figures is anywhere from 10 grand to 99 grand. And
it's at least twice more than I thought.
And you were still impressed.
Oh yeah. I was like, bro, 5,000? Like, holy hell, just because they sold, like
5 figures.
Gotta love that New Mexico education.
Number 49.
Woo!
You know what's better than 48?
49.
Fuck off. Dude, this is a mess. It's like a good mess, but a mess. I'm gonna be editing it. I'm gonna be like, fuck. We'll probably just redo it again.
This is how Doug becomes an alcoholic.
Okay, so the pay was incredible. Crazy stories. That was the other question.
I mean, Chris Doyle was the only one that really gave stories.
Edwin gave us some good stories.
I'm not hitting that laugh track. I love Edwin. How's the pay?
So the stories, it was funny too though. He was like, "Oh yeah, got a bunch. Let me think." Great time. It's like that was it.
Drinks, girls.
So
famales.
Okay, so that gives us some good information.
Yeah.
Lots. And here was my initial thought. Okay. Fuck DC. They shouldn't have cut the program. Because it pulled something out of BMX that was contributing to the dream. Everyone's dream is to become a pro rider, essentially, get sponsored, travel, blah, blah, blah. And DC was contributing to that. But then by them pulling out, they're pulling money out of the ecosystem. and pissing a lot of people off in the process.
Yes.
What was your thought before we talked to these pros?
Fuck DC. They didn't care about BMX. They fucked over Brett. Just pretty much everything you said.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how I guess everyone felt.
Everyone was on that page.
Yeah, it's like, why don't you care about BMX?
Yeah.
Like, why? What was this program failing so bad that you had to stop sponsoring all these riders? And just like, because I mean, DC shoes honestly were nice to ride in. I rode in a pair once. I mean, the grip was amazing.
The pill design on the BMX ones.
Oh yeah, well, I think that's how most of them were.
The one I had, the pills were like concave.
Huh.
So they'd go down a little bit, so there's more raise there, more platform, I guess.
Oh, nice.
They were comfy.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they weren't
thick
like
shoes.
the big goofy ones that the Metal Militia people wear, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah. Well, I know with skaters. See, the reason I feel like this is gonna cut out, still talk about it. I know the reason a lot of skaters nowadays don't wear DCs is because they like thinner shoes that give you more of a board feel, where DC and like I think S and other shoe brands are like thick, so you don't get that board feel. But I mean, they do last forever, but who cares if it's kind of fucking up your skating in the way. I feel like skateboarding's gotten really technical now.
Nobody cares about skateboarding. No, but you hit the button.
No. I was like, where's the lie?
No, we all care about skateboarding. But
Just kidding, I do like skating.
those were our thoughts on it. Now, after talking to everyone, did your opinion change?
Yes, fuck Quicksilver. Because to me, it seems like, I don't know who the fuck wears Quicksilver, honestly.
Quick what?
Quicksilver?
Never heard of it.
Exactly. But I mean, it's like, oh, we as a brand fucking suck, but DC's doing really well. But we're hurting, so let's just take away their BMX, their women's sports, their moto, and their surfing, just so we could stay alive. It's like, bro, why don't you cut your shit and then let DC
why don't you do
just
better?
keep taking off? No.
Yeah.
Take notes, Quicksilver.
That was something it was never talked about.
Yeah.
That it was DC cut the program, and like it kind of made the Ken Block thing, the whole DC persona look bad. But it seems like Quicksilver just kind of killed it as soon as they took over DC.
Well, I knew it always had to do something with Quicksilver, but I didn't know like to what extent. Because I mean, Chris Doyle, when he elaborated that, Quicksilver cut them because they were striving or starving for money.
Yeah. Well, and he said that was just speculation.
Oh, yeah.
But it did. I mean, it made a lot of sense.
Oh, yeah. Conspiracy theory true. Illuminati confirmed. And
for me, I wasn't really hardcore about it. Like, I think Barak kind of low-key took it personally because of the Brett thing. And for me, I mean, I rode the train for sure. I was just like, wow, you screw DC. And it's the same thing when Nike cut their program. Everyone anti-Nike'd. I still wore Nikes. I still do sometimes to ride
Poser.
But oh yeah, no. So I definitely did not agree with it, but I didn't know anything about it. And it's kind of funny because the whole reason I wanted to start this was to learn more about BMX. And here we are, like that's a good history lesson that Doyle gave us.
Oh yeah,
it
much
wasn't
respect for that.
Yeah, it wasn't DC really. In a sense, it was all Quicksilver.
Yeah,
and because they're struggling, because they couldn't, whatever. But DC was cool, and then it just kind of died off. And like we've said, I don't see anything from them anymore ever. When you were in Zoomies, you wouldn't sell them.
So I worked back at Zoomies many moons ago, and anytime anybody would come in and start looking at DC shoes, I'd be like, oh man, those are sick. They remind me of these Nike shoes right here, or these Vans shoes, or any other shoe we sell.
Any other shoe.
But I mean, we only sold like 4 DC shoes because nobody wanted DC. Yeah. Maybe had DC shoe or DC shirts, DC shoe shirts.
Shorts.
That's a fucking tongue twister. DC shoe shirts that would go straight to like our clearance rack.
Yeah, because nobody would buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like, usually it was like, oh, we'll put it on this main shelf and then we'll send it to, I mean, the youth had a lot of DC stuff. So kids like DC grow up. See, I refused to sell DC products after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would, but
they did hurt the program. I hurt BMX as a whole a little bit. And then you could argue, though, that maybe that's what happens when big brands get entangled into it. Because maybe BMX just isn't made for a big brand to come in and actually make a significant amount of money off of. And maybe they learn the hard way. I don't know. Action sports are really weird. Okay.
Well, side note real quick.
Yeah.
To me, it's weird because it seems like shoe companies don't survive in BMX, because Duff was another shoe company.
Low Tech,
Osiris. I don't see anything from them anymore. It seems like it's just Vans and Etnies.
Yeah.
Really, that's in there. I know there's, God, Steve Woodward's sponsored by a shoe company now. I'm dying to try out a pair, honestly.
There's a few, and it seems like people just kind of start them up and see what happens. But the dominant ones are definitely Vans.
Oh,
and
for sure.
Etnies are like around, but I don't know. I don't ever see anyone riding an Etnies. I would, but I don't see anything.
See, I bought a pair of Etnies, and not trying to hate on them. I do love Etnies. But they come with fucking felt on the bottom, which is supposed to help with shipping cost. But you stand on your bike and you go to pedal and your feet are slipping. You go to manual, you loop out, put your feet down, and then you're just sliding on your ass. You're just on the ground, just like...
That's inconvenient.
I know. So it's like... So that's why I don't ride in Etnies. Just because tired of going into figure skating when I try to ride my bike.
You bail and then you turn into Heelys. Speaking of Heelys are dope.
Oh, yeah. Sponsor us. I don't know how, but...
We could Heely around and podcast. Okay. Now, Siri, have Siri flip a coin. Heads? Wait. You pick. No, I pick.
Yes, you pick. It's your podcast.
What? Should heads be...
Heads
athlete?
be, you get to pick your side. Heads... Just you pick, and whatever. If you win, you get to pick your side.
No. I want it to be random.
So...
Heads is athlete, tails is executive. Big words.
Yes. So, heads were in favor of the athletes. They should have kept DC around.
Yes.
Tails, Quicksilver / DC made the right decision.
Wait. No, that's not how it works. Oh, yeah, I guess that could work. I thought I'd have to guess heads or tails, but we don't have to do that anymore.
Hey, Siri, flip a coin. Heads. She said heads. I don't know what that means because neither of us... Wait, so you get heads.
She didn't say it.
See, it's right there. It says heads.
Do it again.
I don't know why she doesn't talk.
She didn't talk?
No. Hey, Siri, can you flip a coin? She said it's heads again.
Okay. It's heads. It's not working. I thought it'd be cooler if...
Sam, she used to talk.
We're going to go with your heads. Okay. Heads is athlete. We're going to do this. Heads, I'm the athlete.
Yes. You're in favor of them not
which
cutting.
Means, okay. So let's just let's pretend here I am, the athlete. I'm hanging out.
Hello, athlete. I am Quicksilver /
what's
DC. Do you have something to say, athlete?
No. What are you here for? Like, get off my lawn.
This is public property. I'm winning.
What do you want me to say? You came to my house and you're wearing this fancy ass suit. Like, what do you want?
I want to tell you that you're cut off. You and the whole fucking team.
Cut? What do you mean?
Fuck BMX. Fuck you guys.
Damn. Wait, so like no more trips?
No. Do you not know what? You're cut off.
Look, man, I just had a really bad crash, and I just got home from the hospital. I think that that's kind of messed up.
Well, I mean, we're cutting it due to funding issues, so I fucking hate this, by the way. We should have switched sides. Just want to throw that out there.
No, he's lying. He's just trying to get your opinion or get your vote.
So yeah, I mean, it was due to funding issues. Like, I'm sorry, we can't help you out.
Like, there's nothing.
No, because it's due
You're
to funding
$1
issues.
million dollar company.
Look, man, it's not my decision. I can't help you. I'm sorry.
That was good.
Do you want to talk to my manager or something?
Just throw someone else under the
What's
bus.
up, Karen?
Okay. But here's the thing, man. I've been with this program for like 5 years, right? I've done a lot. I feel like, I won some competitions. Like, all the guys they're killing it. They're risking their life to wear that DC shirt and, spread good word for you guys and get those pictures put in. And
we appreciate it.
But
but nothing. We just appreciate it. We're sorry your time has come.
I think you're making a mistake.
Go on, get out of here, you big dumb animal. Come on, get. I will win this fucking argument.
I don't know what that means, but you're on my property.
Oh. Here you go. Here's a gun since I'm on your property. And apparently we're in Texas or something.
Yeah. So you guys decided to cut the program because of funding.
I did not decide, but it was decided through the higher ups that we should cut the program due to funding issues. But it's not just this program, it's other programs as well. So don't take this personal.
I mean, how could I not though? I feel like we had a deal worked out and
your contract actually ended. So what's your next point?
So what I'm getting from this is either you're pretty fucking good or they should have done it.
No, I'm just really good at arguing. This is a competition.
I think we could have done better with that.
I agree. But unfortunately we didn't. / couldn't.
Dumbass, I'm not arguing anymore.
Oh. Well, I am.
Yeah, dude, Barak is still going like I'm saying we could have done better with our argument and stuff like that to make it more. I don't know the structure yet. We're still, this is in beta.
I didn't think we were going to role play. I mean, it's almost 3 a.m. It's kind of awkward to be doing this. Like, hey, big boy. I just had an accident.
Dude, the way that sounds in my ears.
Come here and let me whisper it to you.
So I took off my headphones. Yeah, so we were role playing at 3 a.m.
Yes.
But
Daddy.
And on that note,
BMX or Barak sus.
So I think that, I don't know. What do you guys think? First of all, should they have cut the program?
I still personally think no.
You don't?
I feel like they should have just took a little from every program, or just not make it as good, but still keep it around. Like, hey guys, sorry we can't do these $70,000 2-week trips, but we'll still do trips. They're just going to be a little, not as fancy as usual.
They could have just stepped back and said, we're just going to sponsor you to the same caliber as all the other BMX sponsors do.
Yeah.
Motel 6, travel a little bit. Here you go. And if they did that with, what were all the programs? BMX, women's sports,
surfing,
sexist,
and moto.
Surface, moto.
Yeah, surface.
Surfing.
The circus.
Surfing and moto. So like all of those, they could have cut in half and saved a good amount of money.
And I mean, even probably dipped into skateboarding a little. Just be like,
yeah, why didn't they cut skateboarding?
I think it was just so popular back then.
Rob Dyrdek couldn't land a trick.
True. I was going to make a joke, but I can't. The joke is Rob Dyrdek. I'm so glad he's never going to watch this. Or probably just on YouTube one day, just DC shoes. Be like, oh, here's 2 guys talking about it. It's like, fuck Dyrdek, he can't land tricks. It's like, bro, I'm going to fly out there and beat their ass.
Oh, God. So, what else do we need to talk about?
I don't even know. I don't even know what we've been talking about. It's been autopilot at this point.
I feel like hopefully this is usable, and I'm just gonna watch it and be like, oh, hey Barak, we gotta redo this when we have some more sleep. But maybe this is good. I don't know. If it is good, this is gonna be the ender.
Sorry, that's that Taco Bell kicking in.
Yeah, no, I don't think we really need to talk about anything else. I want to know 3 things. Should they have cut the program, or should they have just cut it down a little bit, maintained what they had? Because right now, if they had done that, they would only really essentially be competing with Vans, in my opinion, in market cap. And that is, I mean, Vans has a good grip on it, but that would be a lot more than them competing with all the brands that were out at that time. Vans, Low Tech,
Duff,
Osiris, all those. And
quick little side note. I posted something on Instagram and barely like 13 people replied, but it's whatever. Still people replied. Yeah. So I asked what shoes they ride in, and pretty much everybody said Vans, except one person said iPaths, but currently I'm riding Vans. One person said Etnies, and then another person said, I believe, Nike. But most of it was Vans. Yeah. But I feel like that's just because they support BMX like so massively.
They do a lot.
Because Kevin Peraza got a signature shoe, Scotty Kramer, Dakota Roche, Larry Edgar, and so many other people. And it was like just so quick that they're just like, look, we cared this much about BMX. Like, we're going to make BMX specific shoes with like your design, make it really personal. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like they do a lot for BMX.
Oh yeah, definitely. They do more than a lot of companies for sure.
Oh yeah.
Should they have cut the program? Should they have kept the program around? After everything that you guys have heard, like, let me know in the comments. But the other thing is, what's your favorite shoe brand? And
why is it Vans?
Yeah, what's your favorite brand and why is it Vans? Guys, special shout out again to Chris and everyone else who took the time to answer the questions. And yeah, hopefully this is not too much all over the place. And what do you have to say?
I mean, for me personally, huge shout out to the pros that got back to me, because I mean, still, like I said, been riding for 10 plus years, and it still like makes my day knowing that they just take that time to reply, because I'm sure they're flooded with DMs already and it just gets annoying, and that they pick mine and actually reply to it. Like, it means the world to me.
To help out this little podcast with, 100 listeners, that's like, woo!
Because, I mean, this does nothing for them, honestly.
Yeah.
They could have just seen the message and be like, yeah, just no, I don't. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to eat. I'm just going to do anything else besides reply to this stupid message from this stupid kid. But they replied to me, so my stupid little dreams are happy.
Yeah. I think that it's fun, and if we get to talk to more each week, that'll be incredible.
Because, I mean, it like progressively got better, too. It was like Dylan Stark and Edwin Delarosa replied. Dude, words are sounding weird. I need to go to bed. Dylan Stark and Edwin Delarosa replied, and I was like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. And then Anthony Napolitan replied and sent pictures of the shoes. Yeah. And I was like, bro, this is like the best thing I could have asked for. And then Chris Doyle agreed to the Zoom and actually did it.
Yeah, we thought he was going to ghost us.
Well, I figured something might come up. He's like, sorry, I can't right now. And to be like, that's understandable. Real estate, adult, dad. But
sorry, I can't right now. My hamster's having a kidney stone. It's like, oh, dude, Chris, we got it. It's cool.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, it meant the world. I feel like it made this podcast way more better. Way gooder.
Did you just say more better?
I don't know. I don't know if I need a dictionary or sleep. Penis in my oatmeal. I don't know. That's how I was taught to do microphone checks, because it just really gets the vocals going.
For real?
No.
Oh, I was like,
well,
really?
You believed it.
Like,
don't believe everything you see on the internet, except for this podcast, because it's the fucking truth.
And on that note, that's a good ender.
Oh boy.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. Let us know in the comments what you think and what we should talk about next. What's another hot button topic?